Well, hello, everybody. Glad you're with us here on a Wednesday. Another edition of Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with our good friends at Yellow Hammer News. And I got to admit, right out of the gate, I did not make the Obnoxious Tour event. The Ambush Tour event last night. I had plans to do it. It was on the list. Just couldn't pull the trigger.
I know what was on the list. I know what he had plans to do. He had that written out yesterday, ready to go. And he says, man, as soon as I get on the air, I'm going to pull out the obnoxious card about that. That's where the plans were. That's what was on the list to do it right there. And what a great way to start out the program. Auburn fans, he's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. We are underway on the Santeria show, episode number 422 of the program. And if you do the math, that will make Ob Needling number 4,222 since Longshore and McKnight have been on the air. It's just an average there.
That I have been to one of these events before, an event similar to one of these type of events. It's fun, a lot of camaraderie, good food and drink. No pin the tail on the donkey, no barrel races, things like the hay rides.
The oldies are always going to be the goodies, And
Barry, just how it's evolved from the Ed Teague Arena to Win Lakes. I mean,
the old ways still resonate with some people out there. Yeah, yesterday at Win Lakes. Now, I like the Ed Teague Arena. I don't know why John's dogging the Ed Teague Arena, but,
No, to me, it was just, how appropriate. Sure, where else would you have it but the Ed Teague Arena?
I don't know, and don't know the historical significance of the impact that Ed Teague had on Central Alabama.
Me either.
But he had, and I don't know that he's with us or not either, he had such an impact on this area that his name will live in perpetuity because of the naming of Ed Teague Arena, and it will live in notoriety because Auburn used to hold their annual Auburn fan gathering at Ed Teague Arena. That will live forever. God bless you, Ed Teague, wherever you are. But they had it yesterday, and they had it out at Win Lakes.
Yeah, nice place.
Yeah, good spot. Alex Golesh was there. Stephen Pearl was there. Probably on his way up to Hoover for Greystone this morning. John Cohen was there, I believe. John Cohen is the director of athletics at Auburn University. And a good time was had by all. They know how to throw a party at Auburn. A couple of coffee cakes, cold cuts, brew a couple of pots of coffee, Coca-Colas, all that.
This just makes me think when you said that. You know who else would have been there, Barry? Pat Dye and Philip Marshall. They would have been there too. They would have been. Man. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah. And it's the regular stuff. They call it the Auburn Ambush Tour now. And it's put on in part by the On to Victory NIL collective and everything. 8 stops.
Oh, what are the other cities? I might be able to squeeze one in.
Well, they had it in Montgomery yesterday. And this is what's fun about it. They had that was last night at Win Lakes.
Yep.
But yesterday at lunch, they were in Houston, Texas.
Oh, wow.
So They started.
Is Houston a big Auburn town?
I got to ask you that about several of these because it opened up on Monday.
Yeah, they took that new United flight from Houston into Montgomery so they can make the event at Wind Lakes last night.
Easy. I mean, that's a whole lot better than, going like Huntsville to Montgomery. Easier that way. Dang sure a lot easier than going from Atlanta to Montgomery. People. Anyway, this past Monday, 2 days ago, they opened up with a dinner meeting for Ambush in Dallas. Same question. Is Dallas a big Auburn town? I
want it to be.
I couldn't tell you. Then yesterday, lunch in Houston, dinner last night in Montgomery.
Nice.
Coming up next Monday.
Where'd they have dinner in Montgomery? I guess they had dinner out there too, or
yeah, I imagine so.
Or did a chicken finger place cater it?
Coming up this coming Monday, John, see if you can pull some weight with the Auburn athletics people. Okay. See if you can get Gurn Jr. in, because Monday they have dinner in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
Nashville is a decent-sized Auburn community. I know that.
Yeah.
Next Thursday, not this Thursday, but next, May 7th, they're in Destin.
Oh, that'd be a nice spot.
Yeah, that's a dinner meeting. And then Monday, May the 11th, they're in Birmingham. Birmingham, I'm not sure, to hear some people talk about it, Birmingham's not a big Auburn town. I'm telling you, Birmingham is crawling with Hogs.
Yeah, there was a former athletic director that made the statement many years ago that they were about to flip Birmingham. I think that was during the Hitler
It was in the process of
something.
Flipping, as a matter of fact. David Housel.
Yeah.
So that's Birmingham, Monday, May the 11th. And then they got like forever off. From May the 11th, they take almost a month and 3 weeks off before they have dinner on July 1st. That's a Wednesday at Lake Martin.
Why
Lake Martin?
There's a lot of Auburn people around Lake Martin.
There's a lot of retired Auburn people around Lake Martin. I do know that. I
promise you that.
And then
a lot of that.
They take about 3 weeks off, and they close it out Monday, July 20th in Tampa.
Oh,
so,
man, well,
and you can't even register for the
Tampa.
So anyway,
they're going to be in Tampa during media days and have a little event. I think they've done that before. Actually, they've done it in Birmingham and
that's why
Atlanta
that's
when
right.
media days are there.
That's exactly right.
But I'm glad to see they're branching out. Barry.
But
Dallas, Houston, Tampa. I mean, it used to be
Nashville,
Solga, Sylacauga, Montgomery, Hope Hull.
They never had it in Hope Hall. They'd have it in Greenville or something. But there's only 3 spots. There are 8 spots on the Ambush Tour.
Yeah.
3 of them in the state of Alabama: Montgomery, Birmingham, and Lake Martin. For those fans here in the state of Alabama, is that smart, John? Hey, we want your money. We need extra money because now we're going to spend more for tickets because we're paying for the new end zone thing. We got to have your money. It's all put on by the On to Victory Collective and all that. And the money there largely is going to go to the collective, but not from and of course, they're also going to sell tickets there. They're going to have Stephen Pearl, Alex Golish, John Cohen, Larry Vickers, all those people.
Yeah.
But they're also going to have ticket people.
Well,
but if you're in Huntsville or you're in Mobile, have you got to go to Destin if you're in Mobile, or if you're in, I don't know, name some of the town, Florence, or
well, they can't go everywhere. That's obvious. I would think there would be people that would come over from neighboring communities and cities and things like that and try to get in on those festivities. I mean, I don't know how many Auburn fans live in Destin, older ones maybe, particularly, before the summer starts. But, to me, Destin's more of a vacation retirement community than it is a permanent place. Yeah. But, hey, similar to the lake. Now, I do know a lot of people live at the lake nowadays. A lot of empty nesters are up that way. And I guess they'll go over to Malzahn or Bruce Pearl's house up at the lake. They've got some very nice homes there, and head over to Willow Point, yuck it up. And I don't, can't imagine a huge group of people. It was kind of like last night. If you were at the event last night, let us know. I should have been there. I'll admit it. It was on the list, but just couldn't squeeze it in. I could have given you a firsthand report, as I've done before. It's not like I'm always looking for somebody else to give me the news. I mean, I've actually seen it with my own eyes before.
I am to believe that this was on your list.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, we had Brian Matthews on, and he mentioned, just a quick aside, that they're going to be in Montgomery tonight for the ambush tour. And John does his fabled John. Really?
Yeah. Ding.
What? That?
Huh.
So I don't know for an absolute fact that John's news about the ambush tour reached his ears yesterday morning.
Oh, that's the first I heard about it. But
okay,
I make my list in the morning. I make my list out as the day begins, and I add
Publix.
Yeah.
Let's see. Got to drop off an envelope at Local Man again. Ambush tour. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bill from Baltimore. That's right. I had to watch the Braves last night, Barry. That's why I couldn't make it. Yeah, that's right, Bill. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
one again.
Yeah.
One.
And speaking of that, here's another one of these John from Wetumpka shots here.
Good morning, John. The Major League Baseball American League West has been identified as the weakest division. Only one team above 500.
First of all, who identified that? John from Wetumpka or Major League Baseball Inc.? Now, I do know the Braves have played the Athletics. They've played the Angels. They've played the Astros, I believe.
Yeah.
So once again, they're playing all the crappy teams in baseball.
Ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Is crappy. Marlins, Nationals, Phillies, Mets. You've mixed in the Athletics and the Mariners and the Rangers and the Angels. No wonder they've won so many games. I get it. Get back to me when they start playing the Yankees and the Rays, when they start playing Cincinnati and Chicago.
Cincinnati.
The Dodgers, when they smack them around, when they get a hold of L.A., then we'll talk.
Also, yesterday, we're going to get this in quickly since are we done needling the arms? I mean, are we ever needling the arms?
That was actually needling the Braves, but
no, I mean, we spent a long time. That was just a quick aside to a thing. But
I'm almost offended. I mean, I don't wake up in the morning going, what can I do to needle the alves? I would have liked to have gone to the event last night. I just couldn't make it.
John's camera has a filter on it that filters out the halo over his head right here. So you don't have to see that. I don't wake up first thing in the morning with my show looming and say, how can I needle the arms? No, I resent the allegation. Also, other big news.
Yeah.
March Madness is going to get bigger, John.
Oh, yeah.
The prevailing winds among collegiate athletics is regular season, blah, blah, blah. I guess you got to play it so you can qualify people for the postseason. It's happening in basketball. Men's and women's tournaments will expand to 76 teams. It's going to be approval by the NCAA, whatever, men's and women's basketball tournament. The NCAA met with their television partners, their media partners last week down in Dallas. No contracts have been signed yet, but we all know it's happening. Does anybody, and there's widespread opposition to this.
Okay.
Widespread, 76 teams both ways. The first 4 will now be the first 12. And it'll be spread between Dayton and someplace else with 8 at-large bids and everything. People are griping about it. People, already devalue regular season. There's no point to it. It's already big enough, But it's coming. And which leads me to believe the temperature out there is that if you think with the way things are right now, with the NCAA meeting with their media partners that we ain't going to go to 24 teams in a football playoff. I don't want it, but there's no doubt in my mind that it's coming.
Yeah, get ready. It's coming. Now, I was once labeled the play-in game. They're really not in the tournament. Oh, yes, they are. I don't know they are not. They got to play their way into the tournament. So, and I don't want to get off onto that tangent again. But, if I'm a play-in team, are you really in? But I'm sure you'll hoist a banner and, over there at East Baptist State Community College when they get in and, oh, wait.
Why do you think the coaches like it so much?
Oh,
that's what Luke was saying yesterday. Hey, we made the playoff. How are you going to fire me? I made the playoff. Yeah.
Yeah, to be in football. Hey, we made a bowl game last year. Can't fire me. We were 6-6, but hey, made a bowl game. Yeah, the coaches love it. I get it. And there again, feel like a proud father today. Years and years ago, it's all about money. Amateur athletics at the highest level is all about money. No, it isn't. It should be about academics and going to school. Yeah, whatever.
It should be.
It's all about money, and they are bleeding it dry. They're gonna push the envelope as far as they can because we got to have more revenue. And I'm with you, Barry. 24.76. Who says it stops there? I mean, if you're in it to make money, why turn off the spigot? Let's make some more money. I hope it doesn't get to that. But to me, that's the mindset. It's all – I'll admit this, Barry. It has gone further than I ever imagined. When I was on this soapbox years ago, I never thought it'd be 24. I never thought it'd be 76. Let's get a little playoff together. Maybe 8 teams, whatever, and let's go at it. 24, never would have imagined this.
16 was what they're doing in the FCS and in Division II and all that. And John's wildest dreams, besides, the swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated, always had to do with a large playoff. When we did a lot of our shows together before there was even a playoff, and I'm like, no, we don't need that. What's wrong with the way things go right now? And John was looking at me like I was speaking Sanskrit or something like that. So lots to get to today. Maybe a conversation later on with Connor O'Gara. I like that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Our friend Connor O'Gara is now with the OG Kickoff. Last time he joined us, he told us all about that, and he'll give us a recap of spring football and a lot of other good stuff that's going on. In about 13 minutes, CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News. Get CJ's thoughts about the draft last weekend.
Yep.
Also, some football news as well with CJ. So, we got a lot happening here today on the Wednesday program.
He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, you want your property looking its very best this spring and summer, and River Region Straw has premium long needle pine straw to make that property pop. You're not buying sticks, stems, or pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the region, full of color that will last all season long. And now River Region Straw has a 4th location in Chelsea on Highway 280 to go along with their locations here in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn. No order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. To get your River Region Straw, drop by any of their 4 locations or give Kenny a call or text today. 669-5959. That's 669-5959. And have the best looking property this spring and summer with straw from River Region Straw. Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. All righty, about 19 minutes past the hour here on this Wednesday. Hey, hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You'll be glad that you did. You'll get instant notifications. You'll know what we have got out there for you, whether it's our live show every weekday morning from 7 until 9 or content that is released throughout the day. You will be notified about it. You won't miss a thing. And, of course, you can always check us out at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. They're Yellowhammer News Facebook page, our Facebook page, YouTube, Instagram, X, Spotify, iTunes, so many ways to follow us. We really appreciate that. And hit the like, hit the subscribe button. It helps out a lot. You mentioned something about ticket sales. Maybe they're trying to push ticket sales at these events.
Yeah, the ambush tour.
The ambush tour. This pops up every year. I guess it's that time of year, but not a lot maybe is going on. SEC football ticket sale revenue for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And as you would imagine, and you better get used to it, Texas leads every school in the SEC with over $60 million in football ticket sale revenue. I don't know what they sell a ticket for there. I don't know what the seat is there, but over $60 million, looks to be about 65, is a lot of money. Texas A&M is right behind them at about maybe 50, little over 50 million. Then you got Oklahoma selling a lot of tickets, as does Arkansas, LSU, and then Alabama. Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Auburn, Kentucky, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Missouri, and Mississippi State round out the rest of the league. Mississippi State, they got a long way to go. They're not selling a lot of tickets.
They ain't got a big stadium.
Or is Missouri, for that matter. South Carolina kind of surprised me. But, man, Texas, woo.
Ticket sales isn't the only source of revenue. We've mentioned that before.
Oh, yeah.
The TV revenue is huge. But $60 million is $60 million. That's money they can use to, again, revenue share up to whatever it is, $20 million of that. Texas has already got their revenue share taken care of easily without even dipping into donations or dipping into TV money or anything like that. We were talking yesterday with Tom Luganbill, and we talked about this before. This upcoming football season, this is my read. It's Texas, it's Georgia, and then it's everybody else. Luke said yesterday, Texas A&M might be, might make the way. They've got a lot of money, but the two teams from the SEC that are the most likely to lead a contingent to play for a championship, by far, Texas and Georgia. Texas, if I had to be pressed right now, and maybe we'll do it during the summer.
I'm sure we will.
Texas is winning the national championship.
Well, how about this, Barry? That'd be nice. If you're an SEC fan, the way the Big Ten has been slapping us around lately. But I've been hearing a lot of that too. Georgia, Texas, they're going to be battling it out for the conference. So if you put the 16 teams, and not all 16, because they're not all going to have a chance, but say you put them in tiers, you'd have Texas and Georgia in the top tier. And in the second tier, in my mind, you'd have LSU, Ole Miss, possibly, with what they did last year. Got a quarterback coming back.
New coach, though.
Oklahoma's got a returning quarterback coming back.
Oklahoma's going to be pretty good. Yes, I'm glad you brought them up.
That new coach won a playoff game, beat Georgia in the playoff. So maybe, would you put Alabama in the second tier, or would they be a third-tier team?
Well,
I mean, coming off a 35-point loss, you don't know who your quarterback is. You can't run the ball a lick. As of today, Barry, I'd have Alabama in the third tier. I'm not sure they're in the tier with LSU and Oklahoma and Ole Miss right today.
You know, I don't know that I would put Auburn in that tier either.
I was going to get to them here in a minute.
Oh, yeah, because I don't think either John nor Barry has Auburn in that tier either. We got to mention Auburn. We have a
well, they were coming, yeah.
I would say the upper tier, Texas, Georgia, maybe Texas A&M.
Yeah, possibly.
The next tier is significantly smaller. LSU, I'd put Alabama, Oklahoma. Well, and that's really the to me, that's the size of that second tier.
So I got to ask this question. I don't want to come across as needling. I'm just asking. Why would you put Alabama in the second tier? I'm with you on A&M. I think, Ole Miss is a little shaky. Can I believe in them? But there again, won a playoff game. Got a returning quarterback coming back. I'm with you. Texas and Georgia, they're in a league of their own. But you got A&M, you got LSU. A lot of talk about them.
And then
Miss,
you got
possibly.
Ole Miss.
You put Alabama in the group with A&M and LSU and Ole Miss.
I would.
Lost by 35 points, lost multiple games by double digits, can't run the ball, and don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be. I don't think you can put them in the second tier.
I put them in the second tier. I put them in the second tier, and I'll tell you why. You want to hear it? Here it goes.
Yeah, dude, I want to hear this.
2 words. And these are 2 of my most unfavorite, bile-inducing words that I ever hear on this program. And I'm going to use them here. Eye test.
I thought you were going to go with blue blood.
No. Hey, that's one word. Eye test. John, I put them in there for one reason only, and that is talent.
I'm glad you used
talent.
That word.
I mean, these number 2 and number 3 recruiting classes, number 1 recruiting classes in the nation are there for a reason. If you look at them in street clothes, or heck, if you look at them all standing on the sidelines in their football uniforms, and you see them warming up, and then you look across the field and you see Texas. They're all standing there in their football uniforms, and they're warming up, running around a little bit. You ain't seeing a difference. Not much of a difference anyway. Alabama is talented. Why they lost by 35 to Indiana is I don't get why they lose to Indiana.
Eye test. Well, my eyes told me last year they can't run the ball. They don't have a quarterback. They're getting blown out by double digits multiple times. That's what my eyes saw. Now, these former players and all SEC guys and big hype media folks that get to watch practice, and there's no limits on them, and they're coming out and telling everybody, oh, this Bama team's great. That offensive line is phenomenal. Makes me wonder just what they're looking at or how much they actually know, because that's all they told us last summer. And then we saw the product in the fall and we're going, this team's not any good. This team will not win the national championship, which I said multiple times.
Well, that's why
I'm with you. My eyes are telling me this team's not a first or second tier team in the SEC.
No. If you just
what I've seen up to this point, and there again, maybe in the fall, they get it turned around. But the data points that I'm looking at tell me the teams I mentioned ahead of them are in a higher tier based on what they've done.
I agree. Based on what they've done. That's the key point. The eye test, though, you got to give them some leeway because the way they look, John, the speed, the size, the agility, the arm strength and all that, we all think they should have been better last year. They should have been better than they were last year.
I'll tell you the speed and agility that I saw last year with Alabama. The speed of a defensive end on the edge getting past Caden Proctor time after time after time, or the speed of a defensive linebacker getting to the hole and meeting Jam Miller and knocking him to the ground. That's what I saw, because I
Sometimes
certainly didn't. Nothing. My eye test didn't tell me, man, that Bama offensive line is dominant. Man, that Alabama running back room is phenomenal.
See, you're talking about results. I'm talking about potential, which is all you can talk about in late April. These guys look good. These guys are athletic. These guys should be. That's all I'm saying. They should be good. Coming off the bus, you're like, wow. That's what you talk about in May. Now, the actual results, I am 100% with you on that.
So it's kind of like, man, wow. She is really good looking. I mean, hot.
There was a program called The Nanny one time. Fran Drescher. Fran Drescher's beautiful. She opens her mouth and it's like, oh.
Yeah, that's
my
point.
I can't hear that voice.
You know, good looking, blonde, tall, well proportioned, opens her mouth and you go, whoa. I've actually told the story before. I was in a casino years ago with a group of people, and one of the pit bosses was an attractive female. She was really good, dressed nice, looked good. I thought, man, you're a pit boss, man. Wow. Really attractive. You know, had everything going for her. She opened up her mouth, Barry. It looked like the mouth of a shark. I went, whoa. How about mixing in a dentist? I mean, whoa.
Orthodontist would be, it's a long word, but it would be good for you.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, CJ Duncan will join us. One of the highlights of our week always. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry is Central Alabama's best-known jewelry store. Their location at 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree is conveniently located adjacent to Chappie's Deli. At Marguerite's, they have every jewelry item imaginable because they make it. They really make it. From rings, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and much, much more. Marguerite's can also repair, clean, and rework any jewelry item that you want to bring back to life. Whether you're on a budget or have no budget at all, Marguerite's has all types of jewelry for everyone. Go by and see them today or call 270-0074. Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
All right, about 27 minutes till the top of the hour on this Wednesday. So glad you are with us, and we're so glad to welcome in our good friend, CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News. Hello, CJ. Hope you're doing well today.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all doing?
Doing really well. CJ sideways. He's so busy these days.
You know what? I'm not exactly sure what's going on with this camera. I've tried it a couple times. I'll switch it back and forth.
Hey, there we go.
I'll be here for a second, and then it's going to flip again. So I'm not sure.
That's all right. First of all, let's talk about the NFL draft. Do you get Ty Simpson going as early as he did to the Rams?
You know, it wouldn't have been my first thought for them. When you're so close to winning a Super Bowl, you'd think they're probably overtime kind of mishap, broken coverage away from going to the Super Bowl and more than likely beating the New England Patriots in that Super Bowl. You would think they would get someone that is ready to go, somebody that's going to put them over the top, probably preferably a defensive player because they are so stout on the offensive side of the ball. But they didn't do that. They kind of planned for the future. Ty Simpson, I do believe, has a pretty solid, pretty bright NFL future, and especially with that coaching staff and with that organization that just does all the right things, all the smart things. But I was surprised that someone so close to a Super Bowl decided to go for the future and not the right now.
Yeah, it seems Sean McVay, the head coach of the Rams, was a little surprised as well. He's kind of walked that back a little bit, but yeah, I'm with you. I was surprised. Caden Proctor went right before him to the Dolphins. I've had my doubts about him. Maybe he needs better coaching because I saw him whiff so many times last season at Alabama. I thought that was an interesting pick for Miami as well.
Yeah, you know what? I think he's an interesting prospect because Caden probably has the most talent out of any of those offensive linemen that came out this year, but his tape is up and down. And I think a lot of times when a guy is just inconsistent, he shows spurts of greatness, but inconsistent. Usually it's his mental or his physical. And it seems like he's got the right mindset when you hear him talk. But to me, he just looked out of shape a lot, right? And when you're out of shape, you play tired. You probably play on your heels a little bit more. Your technique goes out of the window when you're tired. Those kind of things. I just wonder if, hey, this guy gets in shape. Could he be a Trent Williams one day? Because he has that kind of athleticism, and he's taller than Trent. I think he's 6'7", so his length and his reach are going to be even better. But to me, if you're playing in the SEC over 350 pounds, I don't care what position you are, you're in trouble.
Yeah, see, people would say, oh, look at his athleticism at 6'7", 360. And I'm thinking, I'd like to see his athleticism at 6'7", 330,
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. If that kid could get down to like 325, he'll be unstoppable. No, truly. He's got a special talent and he's strong as an ox and can move his feet pretty good. It's just being able to last the entirety of a game. And I think also if you're throwing screens to him, it doesn't help his case, on the offensive line. We probably should just focus on one thing from here on out. So,
in the training room, I don't know if you ever had to go through times where you had to gain or lose weight. But a guy like Proctor, you're talking about a lot of weight and you're trying to lose 30 pounds. I mean, I guess it makes a lot of difference when you're 370 to go to 340. But how is that done? I mean, is it more diet or is it more just busting your ass in the weight room and sweating it out, or a combination of both?
Well, a lot of it is diet. It's tough. I never had to go up or down, but I've seen my friends, that were or teammates that were receivers that had to gain 20 pounds because they came out of high school at 150 pounds, but could run a 4.3. They had to gain weight. But then I've seen guys who are big guys that needed to kind of shed some weight to be for positional value kind of thing. And so, most of that is diet, and most of these universities have chefs, right? And these people, when it is time for you to eat, they've already got this thing prepared for you. But your strength and conditioning coaches are the ones that are just on top of you 24/7, making sure you're doing all the right things. It's not just the weight room because muscle weighs more than fat a lot of times. So, he could work his butt off, lift all the time, run all the time, and probably not really change weight because it just redistributes itself in a sense. And so, but it's hard. It's easy when you're bigger. It's easy to lose weight, but it's also very easy to gain it right back. It doesn't take a whole lot. It takes one weekend of just not doing the right things, and you got that weight right back.
Yeah. CJ, I thought it was perceptive. Philadelphia drafts in the second round Eli Stowers. And his background from Vanderbilt. He'd been a converted quarterback. I think he's only been a tight end for like 3 years. And they need to start, planning for the future at tight end. I think he could be a 12 to 15-year NFL guy. What do you think?
I believe so. I think that's exactly who he is, and that is a testament to the type of man that he is, right? He's a God-fearing man. He's somebody that cares about his teammates. He has gotten credit at Vanderbilt in their locker room, leading a lot of guys to Christ. And he's just consistent. He's one of those guys that just keeps getting up, and that's what it is. That's what life's about, right? And so whatever he puts his mind to, I believe that kid has an opportunity to do that, whether that's playing Division I football as a quarterback or playing SEC football as a tight end. I don't think anything's going to change at the next level. He'll have his opportunities.
All right.
Were you surprised Diego Pavia didn't get drafted?
I was not. I was hopeful, but I was not. I was kind of thinking he'd be right there the last 2 rounds, sixth, seventh round. Um, but I think his antics caught up with him, unfortunately. And if you don't have special measurables, they're not going to look over those things, right? You know, the tolerance and the production has to outweigh the tolerance,
Yeah.
and his production and his measurables and these things that transfer over to the NFL, they do not outweigh the tolerance that they need to keep up with his antics. And so I think that's what we saw this weekend.
Well, when we look at the state of college football, you may have heard a little bit of our conversation going into the break about, now we're in the talking season. It's the end of spring practice for just about everybody, and we really reach its zenith at SEC Media Days in July. Right now, my opinion is that in terms of a national championship contender, the SEC has two. One of them's Texas, one of them's Georgia. A, do you agree? And B, is there a second tier for you?
There's always surprise teams, right? Every
Yeah.
year we talk about this. You got teams that we want to crown prior to the season, and I just believe that, hey, you got to roll the ball out, and guys have to compete, and guys got to compete consistently and efficiently in order to win games. And those things add up. I just wouldn't count anybody out right this second. LSU is going to look a lot different than what we've seen them in the last couple of years. And a lot of that just has to do with having a veteran quarterback that's coming in. It's not like we're waiting on a freshman to learn the game. There's a guy that's ready to go right now today. And they've got a first round tight end. This guy's special. He killed us. I'm like, guys, did we not watch tape? This guy should not be open. Like, we should have two guys around him, not no guys. And so, but I like what Texas is doing. I think Cam Coleman is a huge addition for Arch Manning, and Wingo, the other receiver on the other side, who's got a lot of speed and size. They lost a lot defensively. I think Colin Simmons is still there, but they lost some guys in the secondary that may hurt what they were able to accomplish last year. In Georgia's always there. They're going to be consistent. They're going to play hard. They're going to run the ball, eat up clock. That's just what they do. But I do think that there will be some surprise team. I don't think it's Ole Miss again this year, but there will be a surprise team.
Maybe it's those Auburn Tigers with Alex Golish. We'll see how that plays out.
In Oklahoma, Oklahoma was this close last year, and Mateer hurt his thumb and had another injury right there toward the end, and it kind of slowed down his momentum that he had at the beginning of the season. If Mateer stays healthy, that team is as dangerous as anybody.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then Barry mentioned earlier A&M. You wonder if they're going to be, where they were last year. They seem to be heading in the right direction, so you never can count the Aggies out. They seem to fade at the end, but maybe this will be a team that can have something to say with at least who gets there.
Well, I think scheduling helped them a lot last year. So we'll see how they handle. I'm sure. I think this will be a fresh schedule this time around.
Yeah, it's interesting. A&M ends the year with Oklahoma and Texas back to back. So, wow.
Good luck with that
interesting
one.
Way to end the season there. And it's interesting because I'm looking at the schedules now that Barry gave me last week, and there's always a couple of series, a couple of weeks that you go, ooh, now that's going to be a tough stretch there. That one just caught my eye with A&M. I've got to take a deeper dive with all these other programs as well. Up there in your neck of the woods, the Tennessee Titans, I think they got a pretty good pick in Auburn's Keldrick Faulk.
I do too. You know what? I think that saved their draft, to be honest with you. When they went Carnell Tate, I said, man, the Titans just can't get out of their own way. They love overreaching for a number 2 receiver. I just don't understand it. They just haven't been able to get that right. But I think Falk, he's a 20-year-old guy. He's big, he's strong. He seems willing. He seems willing to be coached and all these type of things. Has a willingness to be coached. Excuse me. But he's about to learn from Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, I don't think people understand how good of a football player Jeffrey Simmons is. I think that when it's all said and done, Jeffrey Simmons may be a Hall of Famer. And so to be able to learn from a guy like that, who's also an SEC guy and just a state over at Mississippi State, I think that's going to do wonders for him in his career. If he's a sponge with his potential, he could end up being their next version of Jeffrey Simmons.
I wanted to ask you about this because even people like Stephen A. Smith and all of those people were really getting involved with this. And I just wanted to ask you, since you talk about Falk, number 15 pick to the Buccaneers is Reuben Bain. I saw him a lot,
Still
obviously.
In the first round.
Yeah. Number 15 pick, first round from Miami. We saw him a lot in the playoffs. Saw him a lot of times pressuring the quarterback, sacking Mendoza, doing all this stuff. And they kept saying that he's not a premium prospect because his arms are too short. Is that a thing, CJ? I mean, so-and-so's hands are small for a quarterback. His arms are too short. If you can play, you can play, right?
That's correct. Look, I don't want to disparage the guys who do this for a living and they see the arm length and they feel, squirrely about it, whatever it may be. I get it. What they're thinking is, okay, the average offensive lineman or tackle in NFL is this tall with this reach and this, that, and the other. And so this guy's going to have trouble getting away from a guy who's touching him before he can touch them.
Okay.
If that makes sense, right?
It does.
But the only problem is when you watch Reuben Bain's tape, he's got bend of a 5'10", 190-pound man. When he comes around the corner, have you seen those speed motorcycle races and the guy's got his knee on the ground? That's Reuben Bain when he's coming across the edge.
He can get low.
He is special. He is special. The fact that he lasted till 15 and he's ticked off. Listen, that is something to keep an eye on. That guy's going to play day one. And his head coach, I know, is loving it. He's a defensive guy. They're going to be special there with Tampa Bay. It's just a good fit, too. I feel like that's the kind of player that they tend to get historically, and they're all successful.
Wow. To think my Saints have to go up against him twice a year. Ooh. Tyler Shook better be looking out for that guy.
Absolutely.
Another person that you were high on, the running back from Notre Dame.
To the Cardinals, Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love. Your thoughts about where he landed? And I saw something earlier this week that maybe Georgia was trying to lure him away from Notre Dame with a little financial incentive last year. There was a little talk about that.
I think everybody should have put their name in the hat for that. Not just Georgia, but that would have made a whole lot of sense. But yeah, so him going to the Cardinals, you know what? I cannot blame the Cardinals, but I hate it for the kid. I think that the Cardinals still have a long way to go. They still don't have a franchise quarterback. Their offensive line still has some holes in it. Defensively, I think they're pretty solid in the secondary, but linebacker and D-line, I think they could continue to grow at. And then they've got a crowded running back room. Sometimes that's really good for a young guy, and sometimes there are pros that say, "Hey, man, you're a rookie. Get to the back. You're a top 3 pick. I don't need to tell you. I don't need to give you advice or wisdom, those kind of things." And so I don't know the culture out there with Arizona, but it doesn't feel as if a lot of things are going in his favor to help him be better in his first year with Arizona.
Always good to visit CJ Duncan. Yellowhammer News, great insight. Lots more still to come later on in the summer as we really start getting into talking season. Look forward to visiting with you then.
Always a pleasure, guys. Y'all have a good rest of your week.
You too, buddy. Talk to you next week. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, as he does each and every week here on the program. We certainly appreciate that. Great breakdown of the draft.
Yeah. There's some guys out there that everybody hadn't heard of. I mean, I follow it religiously, and the number, who's the guy I'm thinking about? Number 14 pick, Olaiva Vega Ioane, guard from Penn State. 14th pick. I'm thinking, who in the heck is that guy? Max Ihianakor. I think I've heard of him from Arizona State. I'm not too sure. That's where all the research goes in for some of those guys. I mean, who the heck knows? Oh, this guy is a great guard.
Yeah.
I mean,
God bless
if you're
you.
not a skill position player, I probably don't know you.
It's because they don't call your
Proctor.
name very much,
Yeah.
you know, unless you
You're
miss
not
a
on the
block.
highlight tape. You're not on Sports Center. You're not on College Football Final. Unless you're Caden Proctor catching a pass. Then you might get a little clip.
Well, so-and-so blows by Proctor on his way to the quarterback. Proctor misses a block in that run fed, and Jam Miller loses two, I don't know. Caden Proctor.
If I heard somebody yell, well, I can't tell you what they yelled, but
he heard it a lot.
Dadgummit 74. Yeah. If I heard that once, I probably heard it 100 times last fall.
What we see, what this has turned into, is a change in a sea change, a total change in Bama fans' memory of and categorization. You used to have, up until this year, almost every year, you'd have a favorite Alabama whipping boy defensive back.
Well,
Run by me, Ramsey Robinson, Kelf Bailey, Anthony Dolly Madison. Who was the guy? Played for the Bears, John Mangum. Those guys. It always used to be one DB. It was always a DB.
Mm-hmm.
That would always got by him again.
Yeah, well,
it has changed now.
Era, they always had their back to the opposing team's quarterback. How can you see where the ball is?
Yeah, which means that all they're concerned about is they are seeing the receiver. And with their back to the quarterback, that means the receiver is behind them, heading to the end zone. But this past year, is Caden Proctor the new Dolly Madison? Is he the guy that everybody looks back at last year and says, Ty Simpson, was he a good quarterback? Was he a not good quarterback? Well, I'll tell you this. He was running to his life because of Caden Proctor.
Well,
it was so frustrating because Alabama couldn't run the football. Well, why was that? It was because of it wasn't all Caden Proctor.
Well, you're right.
I'm not sold on the guy necessarily either, but I don't think he's responsible for the demise of Western civilization as we know it.
I also heard, why are they giving it to Jam Miller again? I heard that a lot. I mean, what is Grubbs thinking about here? Why does he continue to give it to Jam Miller between the tackles? I heard that a lot. Matter of fact, I might have said that a lot.
A little bit. It was more than once. But again, there was not an overabundance of holes for him to run through. And hey, Jam Miller is a New England Patriot.
Yeah.
He got drafted.
Unbelievable.
He got drafted. Here's what they said. He was a seventh pick.
I don't want to downplay him getting drafted, but last round, maybe last pick for the Patriots?
No. Listen, you got 32 teams in the NFL, right? So unless there's trades or somebody gets fined or something like that, you're going to have 32 picks in a draft, and there are 7 rounds in the draft, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
John and I have both said that I would rather go unrestricted free agent than go in the 7th round because you get to kind of pick your spot, right? Well, 32 teams per round, 7 rounds. Jam Miller was drafted by the New England Patriots, round 7.
Yeah.
Pick number 29. There were only 3 players, I think, picked behind him.
I'll say this, Barry. Being that pick is like
the kid on the playground when you're going, okay, we'll take you. Come on. Yeah.
His
like
name.
2 kids left. You're picking teams for kickball or something. Hey, Poindexter, come on. We'll take
Egbert or Howard. You ever heard of a little kid named Ralph, you know?
Now, I'm not hoping this. I'm just giving you a prediction. Jam Miller doesn't make the squad. Hope he does. Hope he proves me wrong. Have nothing against the young man. He will not make the New England Patriots 53 man roster.
53. I got to step up for Jam. This is what the player analysis was at NFL.com. Miller has pro caliber size, but while some runners get what is blocked, Miller doesn't always take what was there for him. You know,
Trent Richardson, I think, was described that way.
Jam Miller could have had the vision of Sean Alexander, the size of maybe not Eddie Lacy.
That's a big boy. Yeah.
And the vision, the size of Trent Richardson, the vision of Sean Alexander, and the speed of Kenyon Drake. Instead, he ends up with the size of Kenyon Drake, the blocking ability of Sean Alexander, and the vision of Trent Richardson.
Yeah.
It says, Miller has pro caliber size, but while some runners get what's blocked, Miller didn't always take what was there for him.
Got to do that.
He's a hard runner. He's a hard runner and can get tough yards after contact here and there. He's not talented enough as a blocker or pass catcher to play on third down. So starting on special teams might be required to become an NFL backup. John, according to that, that is NFL draft analyst ease for that man ain't going to make it.
I don't think he's going to make it. All right, Lydia, say we take a top of the hour timeout. Connor O'Gara from the OG Kickoff is going to join us here momentarily, get his thoughts about wrapping up spring football and what lay ahead. Always enjoy Connor's analysis here on the program.
It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information. Pravel Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Pravel Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117, or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet. Back at it here, getting close to the top of the hour on this Wednesday morning. Glad to have you a part of what we've got going on, as always. And, well, as we were just speaking about, our man Connor O'Gara with the OG Kickoff joining us here this morning. Always enjoy having Connor on the program. Hey, my man, how you doing? Hope you're doing good today.
Gentlemen, doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing really well. We are fully immersed into talking season now. Yeah, spring practice, whatever. You know, SEC Media Days, whatever. We're in mid-season form here in late April, and we're trying to figure out who the contenders are for a national championship from the Southeastern Conference. It's been a little bit of a drought, Connor.
It has. And I think it's telling that we're asking that question right now.
I got Texas and Georgia. I was in Athens yesterday. And there's a pretty little gulf between Texas, Georgia, everybody else in the SEC. Agree or disagree with insight?
Disagree. Let me throw another one at you. The team that was 20 seconds away from playing for a national championship, the team that returned the best quarterback in college football in Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss. I don't think they should be discounted from this conversation because, yes, I have questions about what it's going to look like over the course of the season with Pete Golding. I think when you bring in a new offensive coordinator and John David Baker, there are naturally going to be some questions there. I would have felt a little bit better had they been able to retain Uman Mielen and Daughtery late in the portal cycle instead of losing them to Lane Kiffin and LSU. But having said all that, 20 seconds away from a national championship with a guy who did not get an offseason with the ones, had the unbelievable meteoric rise last year, and is now going to be asked with handling all that pressure and what it looks like. But that's kind of the one thing I don't worry about with Trinidad Chambliss is his ability to handle pressure. We saw what he did in that Miami game when he only took one sack against the defensive line that I think we'll look back and say was generationally good. And Kejuan Lacey, as long as he's healthy, I think he is one of the top 2 or 3 running backs in all of college football. And defensively, I still feel really good about the direction of this team with Pete Golding. I thought they had some meat on the bone last year with some of the missed tackle issues that ultimately cost them in that Miami game. Kadarius Toney is probably still running for a touchdown right now with some of those missed tackles. So yeah. I think Ole Miss deserves to be part of that conversation, even though I realize they're just trying to get to Atlanta for the first time.
Connor, I'm with you. I do think Texas and Georgia are ahead of the pack right now. I got them in tier 1. In tier 2, I've got Ole Miss. I've got LSU, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. But one team I don't have in it is Alabama. I've got them in the 3rd tier. And that's, as you can imagine, caused a little discussion in these parts. And I know it's a new season and we're flipping the page, but I just can't get over a team that could not run the football, had problems blocking all season long. I don't see, I mean, are they going to snap their finger and that's going to miraculously be changed this fall?
They're going to have their lowest preseason ranking since year 1 of the Saban era.
Ooh.
They, I think, have more questions than answers, and that's the problem. Outside of that secondary, which might end up being the best in college football, what position group do you truly feel like you would bet the farm on being really good? That's the problem. Because I can tell you, I think Keelan Russell is going to be special. I could tell you, I think Ryan Williams could have a bounce back year. I could tell you that I liked what they were able to do with being able to, kind of go after some of those receivers in the portal that you felt like, all right, like this actually kind of makes sense. It could fit what they're trying to do with Ryan Grubb. I don't necessarily feel great about this Alabama team, and it's more of a wait and see team than anything else. It's not to say that they can't make a run in SEC play and get back to Atlanta again. But that's the issue is they have so many questions. And when you see an offensive line struggle the way that they did to run the football, you don't feel like there is any sort of certainty. They took a lot of chances in the portal, I thought, on guys that were in situations where they couldn't necessarily play at big time programs. And they're hoping that it's going to work out at Alabama. They lack experience on that offensive line. And recent history tells us that you need experience and you need continuity to be really good in the trenches in this era of college football. I don't know if they have that yet. So I'm looking at all those things going, yeah, I have questions. And I would probably put them still in that tier 2 group with an Oklahoma, with a Texas A&M, and probably say it's more likely to be, a 10-2 type season is maybe their regular season ceiling. If Keelan Russell's special, it changes a lot. I think he has the capability to be special. But yeah, I'm sitting there right there. I'm sitting there with you guys of like, look, I need to see it before I can truly buy all in.
Well, Alabama's already bought all in. Kalen DeBoer, 7-year, $87.5 million contract extension. They have pushed all those chips to the middle. Simple question for you, Connor. Justified or unjustified?
I'd say it's slightly more justified than not. I get why they did it. And for those who were going into this year saying that Alabama was going to fire Kalen DeBoer if he lost 2 games or something like that. I think they were ignoring 2 huge factors in all of this. And I think the 2 biggest factors that drove Alabama to this extension, that is Greg Byrne and Jimmy Sexton. Greg Byrne is the guy who came to Alabama knowing that his entire tenure was going to be defined by who he hired to replace Nick Saban. And buddy, he wants it to work. He does. He just does. And sometimes when you want something to work, you will double down on it and you will do things that probably the average Alabama fan would not do. So the way that all that played out last year with the Michigan stuff and with Penn State and like, would he actually leave? I think Greg Byrne in his heart of hearts felt like Kalen DeBoer wasn't going anywhere. I also think he was probably pushed a little bit by one Jimmy Sexton. And Jimmy Sexton, instead of waiting until the end of year 3, said, look, I want to know where you stand with my guy right now, or else we will fire that up every single year of, oh, maybe he's going to Penn State. Oh, maybe he's going to Michigan. And Bama doesn't want to necessarily deal with that possibility. So I do think that he wins a ton of big time games, and that is the single most redeeming quality you can have in this era of college football, wherein you don't have to be perfect, but you have to be capable of winning big time games. But I would say, yes, there are definitely some reasons to be like, wow, this Alabama standard, I think, has changed as a result of this extension with a coach that's lost 4 games in consecutive seasons. I think that there are still going to be people that look at that contract and go, ugh, why did they have to come up with this extension when they did?
You know, Connor, you know as well as we do, and I believe we discussed this after the Alabama-Indiana game. You can't lose games by 35 points. You can't lose by 20. You can't lose by 17. And Kalen DeBoer has that on his resume. Alabama coaches don't get beat like that. And, you know, if you lose a game or 2 by a field goal or a late, scoop and score, that's one thing. But when you're not even competitive, that isn't going to fly in Tuscaloosa.
That's the biggest thing he's got to figure out. It's not so much how do you get over the hump and win big games. It's how are you so uncompetitive in these losses? And yes, I think the comeback against Oklahoma helped that a little bit, but you still look back at their losses last year, really the last 2 years, and you're like, why is it that when you don't have it, we know it? And it's just not there. Like, being there at the SEC championship and watching Georgia win this game that meant so much more to Alabama than Georgia, you're kind of just scratching your head going, man, where are the answers? Why is it that you can't even get a swing pass to the running back without having a running back do the wrong thing and the coach lose his mind on the sideline when you're just trying to get 3 or 4 yards? Like, there are some times in which you've watched this team and gone, man, they just don't have it, and their coaches can't get through to them. And that's maybe the most jarring thing about the DeBoer era is how they've looked within their losses, because that's when fans go to dark places. Like that's truly the case of like feeling as if you have no path to victory, no belief whatsoever in what's the point of all of this. Like, that's really the thing that I'd be concerned about if I'm an Alabama fan. It's the biggest thing that coaching staff has to figure out. It's not that they've lost those 4 games. It's that, man, you look back at 3 of those losses and you're like, hey, this was really, really bad. And you didn't look like you belonged in the same field as that other team.
Connor, let's keep on with the tier analogy. Your estimation of Auburn, has it risen, has it fallen, or has it remained stationary since what you saw in spring practice?
I don't know that spring practice necessarily changed and anything with that. I didn't look at Byron Brown's throwing motion, his hitch, and all of a sudden Doc Auburn a couple of games that I thought they were going to win. I didn't do that. We're not going to that place yet. I'll save that for the NFL people. But
right.
I think the biggest thing for Auburn this year is, and fans don't want to admit this because when you're in the midst of your worst 4-year stretch since the Harry Truman administration, you just want the days to be better and to be more satisfying. The biggest goal for Auburn this year is simple. It's points and vibes. If you can establish those 2 things, points and vibes, you will be establishing a foundation that Alex Golesh needs to succeed at Auburn. And that could look like 7-5. I make the comp to 2021 Tennessee, a staff that Alex Golesh was a part of, a staff that he called plays for with Josh Heupel. a group that was seemingly lost offensively when Josh Heupel took it over. And this is pre-portal rules where there's as much fluidity as there is pre-NIL. So like we're thinking Josh Heupel inherited a disastrous offensive situation. This is going to take like 2-3 years to get the offense in there that he wants. But what did he establish that first year with Hendon Hooker, who replaced Joe Milton? Points and vibes. And Tennessee all of a sudden changed around its entire mindset when it was seemingly lost, and it was firing coaches just because it was hoping to be able to escape a dreaded buyout. And I think that if you establish that year one at Auburn, all of a sudden everybody's just feeling like, all right, finally, an offensive-minded head coach with a clue. You can recruit to that. You can get your type of player in there, and you feel like you actually have some direction and some purpose. And instead of feeling like you need to stage a coup or you're going to blow this fourth quarter lead, you at least feel like you can show up on a fall Saturday and not be totally embarrassed. That's the biggest goal. I think that's attainable for this Auburn team.
I'm with you. I just think a more competitive team, a team that's all on the same page, knows what they're doing, playing hard till the final whistle. The schedule to me is a little tough for Auburn. I mean, they didn't get any favors in this schedule this year. So, the record might not look great, Connor, but I do think the play on the field is going to be a big improvement. I think the fans are going to notice that. They're going to see that.
I do too. And I think DJ Durkin being able to retain him as the defensive coordinator is going to help year one. I don't know that long-term that's something Alex Golesh can bank on. I think there are always going to be questions with his offense about complementary football and how much defensive coordinators want to sign up for that. And it could be a revolving door there. If we're making the comp to Tennessee, Josh Heupel was fortunate enough to be able to have someone like Tim Banks for his first 5 years on the job, which if you remember that coaching search, it was kind of like, man, who actually wants to be the defensive coordinator for this scheme? Because everybody, and I remember the opening press conference for Gus Malzahn at UCF, where Terry Mohajir, the AD, gets up there and he's like, I talked to players and I asked them like what they want. And they said a coach who plays complementary football, which was a direct shot at Josh Heupel. So like that's probably not going anywhere with Alex Golesh and the type of offense that they're going to run with how the defense sets up and all those things. But, I think just in terms of year one and being able to have Durkin there, being able to have some of those defensive guys stay on board is going to be really, really important for elevating their floor.
What are the dynamics in determining whether we're going to expand the playoff to 16 or 24? It's not an arm wrestling between Sankey and Petiti. Is it arm wrestling between ESPN and Fox? And how's it going to go?
It's, man, after the news that we got last night about the NCAA tournament going to 76, that's the number, right? 76. Yeah. Gosh, I can't even count that high.
That's the temperature we're at in college athletics.
It's
the heck out of everything.
I'm bracing for the worst for 24 after it seems like you're hearing reports that there are more and more conferences who are open up to the idea of it. And it's sickening. Like I fear that we're getting to that place and that 16 won't win out. And we're all going to be left wondering why, like nobody wants this, nobody is actually seeking this out. Like if you poll fans aren't telling you we need to get to 24. The only reason that they want to get to 24 so badly and why it feels like there's actual momentum is that you look at the pocketbook and you look at all these things that they can continue to spend money on and then bring in this other source of revenue because they know that they're going to have the broadcasting backing to it. They're going to get the media contract to support everything that they hoped for. And so that's the part that just feels so wrong and so icky is it feels like college football fans are being taken advantage of because they love this product and it's just continuing to just go right on the edge. And as long as I've been a fan of sports, I can't ever remember, going 12X on a postseason system in a matter of 12, 13 years in the way that they're talking about, which is just insane to me. And I think that there are real repercussions to doing something like that. So it feels like the more people look at the dollars and cents of it, the more people are going to drift towards the 24. And I think it'd be bad for the sport. I really do. And I hope we don't get to that place.
I'm kind of there. I mean, 16 was kind of a number I could live with, Connor. If we do go to 24, and I know money's going to drive it, but I really would like to see the first two rounds on campus, make it an on-campus environment instead of shipping teams and fans all over the country multiple times during December.
I hope so too, because I hope they looked at what happened with the Oregon-Texas Tech game in Miami. And I hope that the decision makers looked at that and thought, What are we doing? What is this? This is a game that you can't get any of these fans to be at. And yes, my alma mater, Indiana, had unbelievable fan support throughout the college football playoff, and they were willing to travel. You also can't bank on that type of response for all of these fan bases when you're telling them, oh, 3 different rounds, you're going to have to travel and go to this coast and this coast and this coast after you've already had them for an entire regular season, maybe a conference championship as well. And just like, it just doesn't make any sense to continue to try and force this just to appease the Bulls that you've had this relationship with for so long. And I understand like so much of this is about TV more so than the in-game attendance itself, but still you're right. I mean, it would make way more sense, and it would actually gives the college football fan something back and instead of just continuing to try and take and, you know, tweak this thing that college football fans have for so long loved and appreciated.
Although my impulse is to shut the program down and close it all out because Connor used the words Indiana and fan support and college football in the same sentence, I didn't know that we would live this long, and it is deserved. I do have one more question. The news about Brendan Sorsby and the gambling and the thousands of games that he played, the bets that he placed on an app, is in your perspective, I'm not asking for direct anecdotal evidence, do you think that's a one-off or is this insidious?
I really hope that it's a cautionary tale. I fear that we will see more of this. Now, to the magnitude of Brendan Sorsby, a $5 million quarterback who had everything seemingly at his fingertips with this Texas Tech team, who's going to start off in the top 10. I don't know that we'll see it to that scale, but I think a lot of this is going to depend on what happens next, because if the punishment is really strong and if the NCAA does uncover this stuff that, hey, this is, you know, there might actually be more than just the bets that he was the bet that he placed as a red shirt, you know, as a freshman during his redshirt year at Indiana back in 2022, a game in which he wasn't playing in. Like, if this is more than just balls and strikes and there's actually some other stuff that they're going to uncover, then the NCAA has a chance to be able to say, look, you're done, you're cooked. And it can be kind of this cautionary tale. And like, as much as I want to see Brendan Sorsby play football for Texas Tech, like I really do, because I think it's one of the most intriguing additions of the offseason, no doubt about it. But I also at the same time want there to be this, oh man, like that dude got everything taken from him. And this has a chance to be like a real teaching point for the rest of college football coaches to be able to get through to their guys to say like, look, if he can't find a way out of this, just if he's betting balls and strikes, then you can't either. And you need to be really cautious about how you approach this, because I do think that this is easier than ever. I mean, everybody's talked about the legalization of gambling, and it's such a big part of all of this. And it's new legislation that was put in 2023 to try and protect against cases like this, but you cannot jeopardize the integrity of the game. And I think that the NCAA is going to rule with that in mind, with this case specifically, in hopes that it kind of sends a message to the rest of college football. But man, I do fear that we're going to see more of this. And I really, really hope that we don't become numb to this, because I don't think we should be.
We've talked a lot about the SEC. Before we let you go, give us one team we need to keep an eye on during the offseason leading up to the start of college football that maybe is going to surprise some people this year.
In the words of Luke Combs, the great Luke Combs, ain't no love in Oklahoma. None. Absolutely none right now. You're hearing nothing about the Sooners, despite the fact that they won 10 games last year. They won some big-time games. I mean, going on the road and winning at Alabama, winning at Tennessee, I think was really significant. They return a lot of production on the offensive side of the ball. They need to be better on the offensive line. They kind of banked on some of those younger guys being able to step in year one and help out and just kind of take their licks. But, man, if John Mateer is healthy, I think we're talking about Oklahoma as a real threat to be able to win the SEC. Now, that's a big if, because he still has some things, admittedly so mechanically, that he needs to work through. Too much of the happy feet. We need to see a little bit more of an established identity with he and Ben Arbuckle in this year 2 at Oklahoma, year 3 in that system for him. And I'm fascinated to see what this defense does because they still return a lot of key pieces, man. Like Taylor Wine, Kip Lewis. I think the Bowen brothers on the back end are really, really special. Like, I just think that Oklahoma is kind of being slept on as this team that, because of the offensive issues they had in the latter half of the season, because it felt like they peaked earlier than maybe, the college football fan usually pays attention to, it feels like they're being written off in these preseason discussions. But man, I just think that Oklahoma, especially if they're going to be lined up against, new quarterbacks in the SEC, I think they're such a dangerous matchup, and I would not want to see them on a given Saturday.
I will officially. I hadn't thought about them in that context. That is going to be interesting to watch. Always interesting content. Anytime we visit with you, Connor, let us know what's next in the hopper. What's coming up that you're working on to present content-wise.
So, yes, on Friday, we will have the 10 worst contracts in college football.
Wow.
I love it.
It's a fun pod that we do that we've made an annual tradition of doing this. I spent a lot of time and research into this. Like, I literally even bust out my Iowa notepad, and I've got I'll always put the worst contract in here. I used to have Jimbo Fisher's contract in here with the buyout numbers by year. This year I have Matt Rule's contract, as you can see right there in the buyout numbers. Because Matt Rule is going to be high on this list. Spoiler alert. But it's a fun thing to be able to do, and it kind of reminds you of some of the things that provide angst for fans and stuff like that. So that's going to be coming out Friday morning, and going to get to do a lot of stuff like that because it's off season / talking season, or at least we're approaching talking season. So be on the lookout for that. OG Kickoff, wherever you get your podcasts. Next round, it's the next round on YouTube as well, because we've been partnered with them, and a lot of fun stuff coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, and when I know the last time you were here, we talked about it, but the OG Kickoff is your new venture, and certainly want people to be aware of that. Search for it and check it out.
Really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Connor. We'll see you soon.
To get his point, Oklahoma, they open up against UTEP. They go to Michigan, and Michigan will be better, but still they ain't where Michigan normally is. New Mexico at home. And again, that's their non-conference schedule. They get it out of the way first three. I think most schools are doing that in the SEC, right?
I think so.
At Georgia, off weekend, home against Texas. Well, a home game. They're playing in Dallas. Home against Kentucky. At Mississippi State. Home against South Carolina. At Florida. Home against Ole Miss. Home against Texas A&M. At Missouri. John, they're road games. At Georgia, that'll be tough, obviously. At Florida, still not where they need to be. And at Mississippi State, at Missouri. John, that's handleable. I mean, that may be as easy a schedule
let me pull up
as
my
there is in the SEC.
Helmet schedule that you provided me earlier today.
You're welcome.
The play at Georgia. That's going to be interesting. I still find it interesting, Barry, that Georgia has never played at Texas A&M. When is that going to happen? Georgia's Oklahoma's manageable. Texas may be a little tougher than their first two seasons in the league. People were screaming about how they seem to get an easy road. Texas has to go to LSU and Tennessee, but at Florida, Ole Miss, and Arkansas at home. They're at Texas A&M as well. But, Oklahoma, manageable. Got a non-con against Michigan in week 2. Georgia and Texas back-to-back, but they do have a off week in between those two games. To Starkville. Come on. Watch out for the Sooners.
Now,
still trying to figure out how they blew that lead against Alabama. I got to think Oklahoma fans, after they saw Indiana blow out Alabama by 35 after that game, they're thinking, how did we lose this game?
What was it? 21-0? Was it 17? It was 21-0, right?
17-0, I want to say.
17-0.
Yeah.
And, they were going through them like, they were a tin horn. So, anyway, Connor
Kinda like the
O'Gara.
New York Knicks last night. More on that in a minute.
In a minute, it's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
The Declaration of Deal sales event is on at Stivers, Alabama's #1 volume CDJR dealer. Grand Cherokee's over 11 grand offers 0% for 5 years. Encompasses $5 off. Only at Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. The Declaration of Deal sales event is on at Stivers. New Ram, 16 grand off for 0% financing. And heavy duties, 13 grand off with Ram's 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Only at Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. About 26 minutes past the hour. I'm trying to do a deep dive, Barry, on last night's box score.
Okay. Here's the deal. We are diving into this segment, as always, the Phantom's Daily Dog.
So Barry,
usually when it comes time for the Phantom's Daily Dog, and he opens up by saying, okay, Barry, I'm trying to do a deep dive into the box score here. That means, number one, he didn't watch it. And number two, he's trying to justify how in the world they didn't cover.
Well, I will say I did watch it. Not intent. I mean, I didn't sit there and watch every minute of the game.
The only time John ever watches every minute of something usually has something to do with Ms. Moneypenny, vodka martini shaken, not stirred, and some girl at the very end says, "Oh, James." You know, that he watches every bit. Anything else, we take it on faith. John doesn't have to always tell us, I wasn't faithfully watching every minute of this. Yeah, we know.
Well, I did have it on. I flipped back and forth, Jesse Waters and, the big state dinner with King Charles and all that kind of stuff. So I was watching a little bit of that last night. And I thought Trump had a pretty good line. He said, well, wow, King Charles had such a good speech earlier today. Even the Democrats clapped and stood up. That was a good one. Kind of broke the room a little bit. But Barry, when you get beat 35-22 in the first quarter, even though you are catching 6.5, you're thinking to yourself, this could be a tough night. So they're down by 13 after the first quarter. They're down by 16 at halftime. But we're not panicking yet. Because they come out and win the third quarter to trim it to 14 or something. So we're still in the game, but when you get outscored by 11 in the fourth quarter, mathematically, there's no way you're going to cover this game. Not going to happen.
Nope.
Which it didn't. And the Knicks win it 126-97. I knew I was in trouble, Barry, when I was watching the game, and a lot of former Knicks were there at the game. They're bringing the old Patrick Ewing's at the game.
And, John Starks was there.
I think Clyde the Glide, maybe.
He does the radio and the TV.
Oh, who was the guy that used to play for the Knicks? He did a commercial, a razor commercial with a baseball player. I'm looking at him. He's sitting right on the sideline. Older Nick from years ago. He's there. All these former. I said, I'm in trouble now. This is not going to be good.
All right. You've got me intrigued here. So that one didn't hit. Didn't hit.
But,
all right.
Close the book on yesterday and look at today. And we're going back to the NBA, where we've been on the NBA quite a while lately. There are 3 games tonight.
Right.
It's 6:30, and 9 p.m. These games are on, the first one, Magic at Pistons, is on Prime Video. Raptors, Cavs, Rockets, Lakers on ESPN.
Okay.
Barry, we're going to the first game. It's in the East, Game 5.
This has been a surprising, may I say, shocking series.
Yeah.
To this point.
That's a good way to put it. Orlando leads this series, Barry, 4 games to 1. 3 games to 1.
Right.
This is Game 5. And you're thinking, man, there is no way that the Pistons are going to drop this series, lose it, pack up the bags, roll the balls into the equipment room at home. But they're laying 10.5 in this game. So they might win the game tonight. But this scrappy Orlando Magic team, man, they are going down fighting. And we're going to grab the points here tonight, Barry. 10.5 on the road. They've already proven they can win there. Bunch of unsung heroes. People don't know that much about
Cinderella story.
Not really.
Tears in his eyes, I guess.
Cinderella, Disney World, Magic, the whole thing. They even have Disney on their jerseys. Got that going for them. So we're grabbing the points here tonight, Barry. Okay, they might not win the game outright. I could buy that. But getting beat by more than 10.5, not happening. We're taking the Orlando Magic plus 10.5, Prime Video, 6 p.m. tonight in the NBA.
I like it. I like that one.
A lot of people scared the Pistons, going all out tonight. Well, they might. Orlando might go all out tonight.
Might. Why not? Why wouldn't they? I like that.
Here is Jeff from Billingsley, Barry. He's popped in. Jeff, good to hear from you. I had this conversation with somebody recently. Why does the NBA suck? Why do people think the NBA sucks?
Because they don't.
I get it. Maybe in November and the season's just starting and you're not into it. But if you really watch these games and watch how they play, it's pretty amazing. I mean, these guys are really good. The way they can shoot from anywhere, and they do, to me, turn the defense up in postseason. I don't know why people are so narrow-minded about it.
It's the same thing about Argentina versus Iceland at Jordan-Hare Stadium, June the 9th. John's looking at it like, this is the most boring thing in the history of drying paint. Why am I? Because they're really good at what they do. I like how they move the ball around. They play defense and everything. And John's like, nah, ain't going to happen. Here's the problem people have.
You ever seen a basketball player wailing around on the floor like he needs to get his leg amputated and then comes back in the game 2 minutes later?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. Who was the guy for Alabama? Grant Nelson.
Yeah.
Great player, good player, da-da-da. But man, if you brushed his arm hair, he looked as though he had just taken a 2x4 to the face. Yeah, so that does happen. But here's the deal about the NBA is the three-point shot. Steph Curry, who I love, has ruined the NBA because everything is all about the three-point shot now. You see them running up and down the court, and they're not really running unless they have a chance to dunk. And, they're getting in position. So-and-so's going to camp out at the three-point line and hold his hands up, and they're going to drive, and they're going to throw it to him. He's going to throw another. And, it doesn't look like they're playing hard. Back in the day when you used to dump it down to Ewing and he would, bang into somebody and he'd get that little jump hook going and all that kind of stuff. And, you used to rough it up a little bit. People liked that stuff. Bird playing, Isaiah playing, MJ. That was, by gosh, NBA at its best. Magic. Now it's just, taking three-pointers. You get the rebound and you trot up court. And, have to wait for the big guy to get there. And
okay, regular season, but I don't see a lot of trotting up and down the floor. I see the guys moving. It's fast. It's kind of like watching Alabama basketball. These guys are moving up and down the floor. There's none of this, taking your time, dribbling it down there. I think that's why I like it because it's fast, it's moving. And I will admit, I thought this for a long time. Postseason NBA is different than regular NBA.
No doubt. You have a friend in me. Absolutely. And that's the problem. Now, that wasn't even the best one. John goes with this from Jeff from Billingsley. NBA sucks. That wasn't even the best one, John.
This is the one I was going to next.
John, did you visit Wesley's booby trap when you were at Alabama?
Now, Jeff.
Sincerely?
This is
Wesley's booby trap?
If I would have known where that was, like I said, I spent a lot of time in Tuscaloosa, Jeff. I don't remember Wesley's booby trap.
Again, John has that filter on his camera that automatically filters out the halo over his head. By all means, I'm not dogging the obs. I don't wake up first thing in the morning thinking along the lines of Wesley's booby trap.
Now, Fantasyland is right there on 82 before you get into town.
There is a place on 65 somewhere around the Tennessee line, I think on the other side of the Tennessee line, because every time we pass by it in the team bus, it's called Booby Bungalow. But
Now, Barry, I am familiar, even though I've never been in it, allegedly. The Toy Box 2 in between Ozark and Dothan.
That's been out of business for years. Years. I mean, that thing's. I know where you're talking about because we go by Ozark all the time. And I didn't know what the toy box was. I never been in, don't get me wrong, because somebody told me. But that thing's been out of business for a while. And I don't know the reasons why. Obviously, they didn't make enough money. And I've got plenty of friends in Ozark.
Yeah.
I just wonder where they draw the employees from.
Barry, I heard it was from Fort Rucker. I heard they had a large Fort Rucker
I'm not talking about, I get that. Boy, if you want to print money, open up one of those places in Columbus, Georgia, or by Fort Benning.
Well, how about Fort
I get that.
You had the Green Frog, you had Sammy's.
I just wondered, not where they get the clientele, but where they get the.
Well, that's important. Actually, what's important is the talent, as they would call it.
And I just wonder where you draw the talent from.
Chip it in, because I don't think there's a lot of talent there in Dale County.
There's wonderful people, some beautiful ladies there, but I don't think they're the kind of ladies who would file an application at the toy box.
So, Jeff, you got to help me out. Give me something to jog my memory because I just don't remember. What's it called again? Wesley's Booby Palace?
Wesley's Booby Trap.
Booby Trap.
And Jeff says it's in Walker County.
Oh, there you have it.
See, I knew it. I knew John would say that because that's what everybody does. I don't know what it is about Walker County, and I've been through there 100 times, but everybody says, oh man, do you believe that happened? Well, where did that happen? In Walker County, and everybody in Alabama goes, oh yeah, okay, all right, Walker County. They suspend the rules of law and decorum, evidently, in Walker County, because, buddy, anything goes in Walker County.
Those folks in coal country up there, and it's in Jasper. Yeah. You know, Barry, my friend,
I couldn't think
who
of
lives in out in Palm Springs. My friend, big Auburn guy, lived out there for 35 years. He still has a Alabama license plate. Walker County is 64. It is 64 on the plate. He's got to be the only person in the Coachella Valley with a Walker County license
Alabama license plate.
It
does not get the respect that it deserves out there in the Coachella Valley.
And I asked him, I say, how do you renew this every year? You've lived in California for 30 years. Because my mother just sends the sticker to me. I just put the new sticker on it every year. I said, well, that's a good idea. That's a good way to do it.
I guess if your mama, still owns your car. Let's take a break.
No, she just gets his mail and sends it to me.
Well, why don't you send? Okay, all right. It's
I
Longshore.
Tags in California are a lot more expensive. That's how I take it.
John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. Hey, Jeff, serve up another one if you got it.
Hey, Jeff, good to hear from you. Where you been, man?
Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road in Montgomery has the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. I'm talking red snapper and grouper, all sizes of Gulf shrimp, jumbo lump crab meat and crab claws, Louisiana Bay oysters, and New Bedford scallops. They are a full-service seafood market and kitchen serving po' boys, dinners, and sandwiches. You know, many well-known restaurants in the river region purchase their seafood from the Destin Connection because they know it's the absolute best. Call ahead and your order will be ready for pickup. The Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call 288-4272. That's 288-4272.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. This guy sitting next to me says, "You're our good luck charm." Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
All right, welcome back in. Glad you're with us here on this Wednesday morning. Jeff, good to hear from you. We'd like to get your post-spring wrap-up of the Crimson Tide. We always enjoy your thoughts and analysis about Bama football. I just get the feeling, and I don't want to speak for Jeff, but maybe he's thinking like we do. I'm not so sure they're in the top tier with all the other programs in this league, but I don't want to speak for Jeff. I'm just giving you a thought on that, but it's been a while. Thanks for checking back in with us, Jeff. Always good to hear from you. Jeff's a legend, Barry. I would think if we, we don't want to rate callers and people that have participated with us one over another, but I would think he would be on a list with a large group of people that people are familiar with. When we go out and about, people will ask us about certain people that have been a part of our program over the years. Jeff's a guy, I got a lot of people that would ask me about him.
And you'd say, yeah, he really is that way. That guy, we used to hear that all the time about Bino.
That's right.
Bino, I mean, is he a good dude? I say, yeah, he's a very good dude and all that kind of stuff. I do hear this as well. Thanks for the self-gloss. Dennis says, John and Barry, I'm a legend like Robbie, Jeff, and me.
True.
Dennis,
correct.
Boy, I can't tell you the number of people said, hey, man, have you heard lately from Dennis Mitchell? Oh, yeah. Dennis, we hear from him quite a bit. The only all deference, all respect to Robbie from Greenville, Jeff from Billingsley, Big C, oh goodness, all those guys. Only one person in the history of John and my work relationship, which is going on 29 years, has ever won the Lifetime Achievement Award.
That's the only one.
And it's that guy right there.
Dennis Mitchell. That's right. Dennis is going to get a lot of reaction, no doubt. Robbie from Greenville, Jeff from Billingsley. Shadow,
Charles from Reeltown, Jim from
known as I-Man on other programs, but Rusty started his long radio career right here with the two of us. That's where it all began.
Yes.
So many others. When we finish the book up, we're going to have a big chapter about those like Mrs. United. Whoa, wow.
Oh, I forgot about her.
Yeah,
yes.
Mrs. United. Man.
She was strong. Yeah, liked her very much.
Rena, the ramp lady.
Yeah, we got to play some video from her at some point because there's some great video from her screaming.
Oh. It was great.
Top of her lungs.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
But Dennis, we appreciate your input as always. Charles from Reeltown, yes. I know you people know him from from Paul's program as well, but Charles was a regular with us. Came to Biscuits night, John and Barry night with Tammy.
I still cannot believe that we had another John and Barry night after that John and Barry night. Oh my gosh.
And really, Barry, I don't think it was because of us, so to speak. Where we made our mistake is we said, okay, folks, John and Barry are leaving, but you can stay as long as you want. And that was a mistake because I think they did stay as long as they wanted to. The security people ended up having to get them out of there.
Yeah, they stayed longer than
of all the liquor that we had provided.
We should have, upon retrospect, we should have not said, you guys can stay as long as you want to. We should have said, you guys can stay as long as security wants you to, because those two times did not jive. They wanted to stay a lot longer than security wanted them to stay.
Yeah. Hey, we wanted our guests to have a good time. That's yeah.
Oh, they sure did.
Yeah.
Tammy, her definition of a good time was to scream at the umpires from the box up there, and she could scream. Well, when
Dennis says he left, he doesn't drink alcohol. He also asked about Dakota Girl. Is she the one that sang backup for that blind country singer?
Yeah, for Terry Gibbs. Somebody's talking. That's her. Oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about her. If we're going to do that late in the summer, because I remember flooding back about all.
I always wondered about that. Terry, what was her name? Terry
Gibbs.
Terry Gibbs. The line was, somebody's knocking, let me see who it is. I'm thinking, you can't see who it is. You can hear who it is, but you can't
unless
see
you have
who
a peephole. Yeah.
Well, she was blind.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's kind of like the drummer for Def Leppard.
Yeah, he had one arm. Let's take a break. Gurn Jr., Victoryland 777 Topic Wheel coming up. Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. So glad you are with us here today. About 12 minutes to the top of the hour. The River Region Straw chat line is hopping today. We appreciate that. You can hop in and comment anytime you like. Just keep it above board if you wouldn't mind. That'd be nice.
Roger Diesel.
All
right, you guys got to stop with all of those. Roger Diesel once said that John was full of bull doo-doo.
He did.
Oh, it was
times, I believe.
He would tell us he was a big supporter of our sponsor product. Except he didn't pronounce Bud Light with the D.
No.
He pronounced it with a T.
That's right.
Okay. All right, here we go.
All right,
it is the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 Topic Wheel presented by Victoryland 777 Casino, exit 22, I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. 6 topics, no idea what they are. They're all researched and produced by Gurn Jr., our producer. First one is dominant.
Dominant.
Oh, yeah. I was surprised about this because I watched the Celtics 76ers game, the 3-1 game, and the Sixers were sleepwalking. Embiid decided to play 33 points. I think he only had 4 rebounds, 8 assists. The Celtics beat the crap out of them in the game I saw 2 nights ago. And then the 76ers yesterday, look, they ain't winning the series. It's 3-2 Boston, but it was dominant for Embiid. When he's healthy and when he plays hard, he's terrific. He is former MVP, obviously. So, yep. When you get him to play hard, they are a different team. But again, Celtics are a different team when they're not at home. They are average on the road.
That one surprised me last night, Barry.
Absolutely.
I feel like I missed one on
all right.
that one with the 76ers and Celtics. All right, 5 more to go. Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 Topic Wheel. Victoryland open 24/7, 365. You can be a winner too, and it's looking like
ouch.
Somebody.
Javier Baez, who's playing center field these days, took this one. Now watch over it first. He dives onto the bag and he hits it wrong. They had to bring a cart out for him. I believe it's his ankle.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was trying to do. Sometimes you slide it. I don't get it. His left ankle kind of hooked the bag or anything. Plays for Detroit. He's normally a second baseman. He's been playing a lot of center field. They took him out on a cart. Actually, it was his right ankle. Wait a minute. You glossed right over. I was about to bring it out.
Yeah.
5-2 loss to the Braves. Braves won again.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, 5-2 at Truist. Braves continue to roll on with the best record in the major leagues.
Yeah. Who were they playing last night?
Braves win. The Tigers.
Detroit. Yeah, another interleague game. The good thing about this guy, Barry, is baseball is just so incredibly long. This guy will be back before you know it. Well, when things are, kind of really get maybe interesting. But now, so what? Big deal.
Let's go back to it.
Yeah, let's go back to the wheel and see what's happening. 4 to go.
Oh, here we go.
Canada.
Canada. I think I know what this one is.
Some hockey.
No. Oh, yeah. Have you ever, I've had this happen. I've heard the national anthem probably more than anybody in the history of the world. The Sabres are playing at home. The singer, the Canadian national anthem, which is right across the river, singer was belting it out, but the microphone didn't work. There she is, down at the bottom. Nobody can hear her. So the crowd starts singing.
That's nice.
I love it.
Yeah, that's nice.
I don't sing the national anthem when I'm at a game because I got a microphone on and I'm afraid I'd leave it on. And the fans just, they just started singing it herself. Cammie Clune from Buffalo, Mike cut out, and the fans just took it over.
So
I love that.
This. Do they sing the Canadian national anthem for every hockey game or just when a Canadian team's participating?
I think it's for every hockey game. I've only been to one NHL game ever. That's because the vast majority of the people that are on the ice in uniform don't sing the American national anthem because they're not American.
That's a lot of singing.
That
Will they
is.
do it in the NBA with the Raptors? Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe tonight. I think they're playing tonight.
I don't know.
Wow, well, good for them. They were able to carry on, and I'm glad they
I
knew
do
the
know.
words.
I thought this was going to the Carolina Panthers of the NFL. Chuba Hubbard is their best running back, and he's Canadian. And they signed John Mechie, and Hubbard says, finally, another Canadian. I can have somebody to talk to or whatever. I thought that's where he was going with the O Canada. But that's a good one, Gurn.
That's a good
good
Yeah,
one.
We'll take it.
John Mechie, by the way, former guest with John and Barry before.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
Very good
All right,
guy.
3 more to go. Let's see what's on the wheel. The topics, we do not know about them. Neither do you. That's why we reveal them together and try to find out what it's all about.
Clean house.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Phillies, now they've made the playoffs 2 straight years. They've been really, really good the last 2 years under Rob Thompson. But they're 9-9 this year, 9-10, and they fire him after a bad start. Don Mattingly.
Unbelievable. I've got a baseball signed by Don Mattingly.
Yeah, Don Mattingly is one of my favorite players ever.
Gave it to my nephew.
Now, he's going to be the interim. He's the assistant coach for the Phillies. He's going to be the interim coach. The funny thing is that his son is the GM.
Oh.
His son's the GM. I think his name's Elliot or something like that. And they, I mean, doesn't the GM have some responsibility? You know, I mean, why don't you fire Mattingly's son instead of? But I love Don Mattingly. Love that guy.
If I'd have known that, I would have given you that baseball. I think my nephew probably has it in a shoebox in his closet somewhere.
Yep.
2
I've met
more to
Don
go.
Mattingly once. He played minor league baseball in Greensboro, North Carolina for the Yankees. And I used to do minor league play-by-play there.
How's that?
All right, here we go.
All right, 2 to go, blue and red.
What do we got? Gurn? Here we go.
And spin it away. Victoryland, exit 22 off I-85.
Inflation proof. Are we talking about the Wesley's booby trap again?
Could be.
Inflation proof.
Jasper. Oh, look at this.
Whoa. This is John Longshore's jam here. This is John's thing. I'll be at Costco later today. What's it? John would $1.50 hot dog. They haven't budged.
Yeah.
Now you can get a hot dog and a bottle of water
instead of a soda, as they call it.
It's the same. That's a pretty good hot dog. I actually did
really
get
good
one
hot
time
dog.
just because, John.
Not only, the bun is really good as well.
It is.
The bun is good. The hot dog's good.
They got really good ice cream at
They
Costco.
got damn good. Oh, sorry. They got really good ice cream. I agree
No,
with
yeah,
you.
I'm not talking about, buy them in bulk over in the back in the freezer section. I'm talking about go get a cup,
The soft serve. It's very good.
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
agree. I think their ice
Costco.
cream is good.
The
even-
$1.50 hot dog is one of John's touchstones as to whether things are going okay in America.
Yep.
Well, this is the country that has the $1.50 Costco hot dog, so we can't be all bad.
Barry, you got the hot dog's really good. The soft serve ice cream is
Yeah.
good. Those really
I haven't tried the pizza, although the pizza
good.
is a very good bargain. I do know that.
Barry, I've seen people walk out with a whole pie before. Call ahead. And
I've seen people
go out.
walk out with about 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah,
all
they're
at
really
once.
good. And Barry, you
Okay.
get 40 bottled waters for $3.99. Now I know it's all the way in the back of the store. You got to pass everything else on the way to it and coming back.
I
But
actually did run
$3.99
into
for 40
John one time, but I think it was at Sam's.
No, it was Costco.
Okay,
I'm
it was
not
Costco.
a Sam's guy. I don't.
Okay, I was wondering.
I don't play both sides.
I'm sitting over there looking at like 18 bottles of mouthwash, and I hear, "Hey, Barry," and I look back, and it was John. He's about to check out with Alice, and I think, "That's right. You said you were a good." John says, "Oh yeah, oh
and
yeah,
I tell you, I love the self checkout at Costco. I get the little gun and go beep beep beep.
yeah."
Beep beep. It's awesome. Love it.
I never cheat on that. I don't know that that's a humble brag or something, because they'll probably. I mean, I'd get caught anyway, but I wouldn't do it no matter what. But that's the way to go.
You turned me on to this as well. I am now an executive club member at Costco.
Yes.
Yeah. I like to go. It's like magic hours at Disney World.
Well, that's exactly right. Here's the deal. we do our show like tomorrow, like Friday.
Yeah.
We'll do the show in Montgomery at the Ford dealership, right? We're not in Prattville Friday.
Correct. That's right.
Get off the air at 9. Costco opens at 10. So I got to hang around for an hour, unless you're an executive member.
True.
Then you can go right over there. Bam.
And there's hardly, you get through the checkout easier. There's not a bunch of people in there. Love it. Yeah. Big magic hour.
That is absolutely uncompensated endorsement for Costco, their ice cream and the hot dog as put out there. Oh, yeah, one more. Hey, sorry, I thought that was it. One more. Appreciate you, Gurn. One more.
Gary, they brought the chopped onions back, too. They took them away during COVID, but the onions are back for the hot.
Not a fan.
Love the chopped onions.
They don't love me. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah. See, that's the other thing about the NBA. Why people don't like the NBA, because they're tanking big as anything down in the end. When you're like 20 and 52 and you're going, you ain't playing all your good players because you want to be the number one pick in the draft with the worst record.
But nobody's watching Sacramento and Utah and New Orleans at the end of the regular season anyway. So,
But that's because they're not any good. Utah, John Stockton, Karl Malone, Sacramento, Jason Williams, and Chris Webber, when they were good, people would watch them. Nobody watches them now because they stink. Anyway, so they're going to have a convoluted rule now. They're working on it. They haven't yet acted upon it, meaning you won't have the same teams get, a top 3 draft pick every year just out of the luck. You can't win the top pick in consecutive years. You can't win a top 5 pick 3 years in a row and all this kind of stuff. It's basically to prevent teams from tanking, which is a huge problem in the NBA. There we go. That's a good one, Gurn. Keep a look on this because we'll talk about that later on the show about the NBA, particularly after it's all over and the Oklahoma City Thunder win it again.
Yeah. Hey, one other quick note about Costco. Theotis is on his way to Costco, he's letting us know. And I will say this, Barry, if I'm in a pinch and I need some liquor and I'm not going to Florida anytime soon, the Costco liquor store, I'm telling you, the Kirkland brand tequila is really good.
That's over there on the side. You don't even have to go into the main Costco, right? I've never been in
It's on the side. You zip in the Kirkland brand vodka. I'm told is Tito's and Grey Goose. There are 2 types of vodka in there. I'm told that. I can't confirm it, but that's what I'm told.
Yeah, so don't hold them to it and don't sue us.
Don't hold me to it. It's like I'm not saying anything, but that's another chapter in the book. I'm not saying anything, but
that's going to be a chapter title, probably the longest chapter in the whole book. Tomorrow on the show, you know what tomorrow is. Preston, tell them what tomorrow is. It's Rockin' Rodney Day.
That's right.
Rodney or the Tighter Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Jason Caldwell, my man from AuburnUndercover.com, and a lot more as well. Many appreciations for Connor O'Gara, for CJ Duncan, and for our producer, Gurn Jr. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.